Who's doing the intro?
Guess who?
Am I the one?
Declan?
I think you've been volunteered.
Declan
Oh,
is
geez.
so.
Alright, sorry.
voluntold.
Sorry.
You get voluntold
Alright.
to do the intro.
Oh god, yeah, this has turned... It's been like this every week for the past, like, several episodes now.
Yeah, man, last time
But anyway,
you didn't
hello,
do it.
welcome back to the Wood Division podcast. I'm here with Chibiin, Necro, and Rowan, who is also known as Riot Latent.
Yup.
There you go. There's the intro. Nice, quick, short. Riot Latency, or Rowan, has worked on lots of different game modes, including what our background is, which is the StarGuardian mode.
A long time ago now.
Yeah, it has been. Currently, he works on Riot Forge, and
Creative
pumping
director
out some
of Riot
really
Forge.
good games.
Yeah. Big title.
Yeah, it's been a...
Fancy title.
No, we are doing Riot Forge now, but the background's taken me back. It's been a long time since I've chatted about all the game modes we used to do on League.
So when do you come back to Riot, like regular Riot, and make another? Straight up, good question.
What do you mean regular Riot? It's all still Riot. It's all still the same. I haven't disappeared into the ether. I'm still here. I'm just doing Riot Forge now. So we're doing bigger games with storytelling that I couldn't do when I was on League of Legends. So the kind of things we could do with game modes, I couldn't do. Oh, sorry, the kind of things we do on Forge, I couldn't do, on League of Legends. So went and founded Riot Forge, and now we're able to do cool stuff there. But I still like chatting about all the old game modes that we used to make. And I still play Aram, like, I don't know, daily possibly, or like most weeks.
Like, how big of a swap that is, though, like from one team to another? Or like, because at Riot Forge, you're like half and half, I assume, where you're like, I don't even know if you are like directly helping with like making the games, or if you are like the big brain that's like planning what will be made and how it will be released, stuff like that. I don't really, or I don't think many people know like how Riot Forge actually operates.
Yeah, I mean, we're super collaborative with our studios. Ultimately, our studios are doing, the dev, and they are, the creative, brilliance that gets the games done. But we are collaborating very heavily with them on IP and craft and, other stuff. And obviously, on Forge, we can hold the big picture in our head of, like all of the games together, as opposed to just, one game at a time. So yeah, it is a little different from when we were doing game modes where I only had to think about one mode at a time, because we were making, one particular mode, and I could just put all of my energy into that.
I mean, speaking of which, I think we should directly kind of transition into this, maybe. Or do you have anything to add, Chibiin?
It's like I'm just gonna jump on what you just said with, oh yeah, now I can work on like bigger stuff and everything. Why not just work on PvE game mode just like the good old time?
I was gonna transition into that.
Like the good old times. I don't know. I mean, there was some pros and cons to like the PvE style modes that like my team specifically worked on back in the day. And then, yeah, I mean, there's a limit to the kind of stuff that we can do inside another game like League of Legends, right? Like, we're still, mostly going to have the camera angle, like that 65-degree isometric camera angle. We're still going to be using the models and the characters and stuff inside League. There's a limit to what we can make. So, I wanted to do more storytelling and more narrative and like bigger scope games. And obviously, if we just, do cool stuff on PlayStation and on Steam, we can do way bigger things and kind of make the games that a lot of players have been asking for years that we can't do inside League. So I think, it's opportunity cost, right? Like, okay, we could have stayed on League and kept doing that, but then we wouldn't have been able to do Forge possibly and all of the stuff that we're doing. So it's always, trade-offs.
Is it true that like the PvE in League was always like a passion project of somebody's, that like, there was a guy who like pitched the idea and then like people got on it, but when that guy then leaves, like Riot Mort, for example, is it true that like someone else has to be there to like pick up the mantle of like PvE? So otherwise it's not getting made?
So PvE, like the definition of PvE, I think is a little broader than people think of as well. Because when you say PvE, I think most people think of Odyssey and the predecessor StarGuardian Onslaught, which are like the two big PvE modes. But actually, when I was always thinking about PvE on modes, Doombots is where I would start with for when we were doing PvE, because there's, and I want to kind of like break this down. The interesting design challenge for PvE within a MOBA or a game like League of Legends is that the characters that you have in all of our champions, those kits and gameplay are designed to be really compelling in a PvP environment against human opponents. Those kits, you know, they're like master crafted, really cool, fun in lane or in team fights on Baron. They don't work really well as they are, you know, trying to fight like a Warcraft boss or a Diablo boss or something. Like, you can't just take the kit of Jinx or, you know, Echo and just have it work against like a Diablo boss. So there was kind of like two avenues that we saw when we first started thinking about PvE. This is back in like, what is this? This is 2014.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. So one option is try and design compelling content which is fun for the kits as they are. And then the other option is change the kits to make them fun and compelling against Diablo bosses or Warcraft bosses, or, you know, that those other like kinds of examples. I keep using like Diablo as an example, but it's, you know, PvE content. So the pros of the first one is if you don't change the kits, that's kind of helpful for onboarding, right? Because I don't have to learn anything new. You already know how Nidalee works. You don't have to relearn how Nidalee works. You can just play Nidalee and have fun against content that's fun. The pros for the second option is you get to like break the game and go above and beyond the kits, which is what Odyssey did like a great job of doing. So those first modes we did with Doombots, one of the advantages of it being against like, you know, the nightmare AI bots is that those bots behave like human players in a way. And so we kind of got that for free. So we didn't have to change the kits for it to be fun. We could, you know, level up the bots and challenge the bots and have the player, you know, find new puzzles to solve. But the kit still worked against AI enemies because they mostly behaved like PvP human opponents. So I think that's what I think about like the genesis of the PvE stuff we were experimenting with. It's the original Doombots was the first time we sort of dipped our toes into it a bit.
Funny thing is, like, you guys also never used Doombots again until the Teemo event. I mean the Teemo version, and then that was it. Like, there was like, we haven't seen, as far as I remember, Doombots or any other iteration of it, even during like Halloween or whatever like seasonal event that could have been thrown out. But like, yeah, it's like we never seen that again. It was still like extremely cool to, if I remember right, have Annie with a huge tibbers or Lux shooting like 8 ults around her and stuff like that. It was really, really cool. But like, yeah, Riot never really, I don't know why.
So
yeah, last seen 2016.
Yeah,
oh, God.
I can't speak to like modern League of Legends as to why they choose to or not to, you know, use stuff like that. I'm sure there's lots of, you know, there'll be different versions of goals or different, you know, tech debt and stuff. I can speak to at least the difference for us when we did it of just 2 years between 2014 and 2016. So 2014 we did Doombots the first time, and then 2016, like you said, we did it the second time with the Teemo event. Even in just that 2 short years, there was actually quite a lot of work we had to do to get it working again, because in that time, lots of those champions had been updated. So they were, you know, they had gone through VGUs, the gameplay was slightly different, they were better. That meant that the AI we'd built in the background for the bots was old, right? It didn't work anymore because, you know, Ryze behaves differently now, or whatever the champion was. So we had to, random selection, Ryze. So the
with his 17th rework.
Yeah, with his 17th rework. But that's not fair. It's only 16. So even just in that short 2 years, we had to do a lot of work to get Doombots to work again for that year. And then, you know, we also changed the format where we, you know, cut the map in half and we turned it into more of like a horde defense where they would just stream at you constantly, and then, you know, at the end the Teemo boss appears and you have to like beat the Teemo boss. But that was like, you know, non-trivial to get that done. I imagine there'd be similar complications, you know, for doing it again nowadays. And then I think the better question to ask is, you know, would it be a good idea to do it again? I'm sure there's lots of types of players and audiences that are maybe enjoying other parts of League, you know, like TFT or ARAM, and then aren't as, you know, maybe it's been
That's
like
actually-
superseded by those at this point. Like the things that people enjoyed in that, they're scratching that itch elsewhere inside League of Legends. So yeah, it might be worth it.
I think this is what I wanted to ask you about, because from my point of view, everyone knows that PvE has always been like what I always loved in League the most. And I almost think that even based on the feedback alone, I think that Legends of Runeterra proved that the tides are shifting and people are a little bit tired of constantly playing against players. And I think that Path of Champions is a solid proof that people actually like playing against not humans, because there are a lot of people. I, for example, I am one of those guys who have a bit of anxiety these days, just like playing against other players. And for me, for someone like me in League, there is technically nothing that I can do about that. And PvE was such an awesome thing for me because, and yeah, I think Path of Champions is a proof of this, because Path of Champions is an insane success in Legends of Runeterra, which was built as a primarily PvP game. But now they are shifting more towards PvE because I guess there are more and more people like me who just, you know, we've been playing Fortnite and we've been playing League and we've been playing all of this PvP, but there is not really like an quote-unquote MMO styled game, or, you know, like just a big multiplayer game that is based on PvE. There are not many of these out there. That's why I think that Path of Champions is such a massive success. And that's why I believe that if PvE was released in League now, it would be vastly different than when Odyssey was released before, because back then people were still riding the hype of PvP and they still really massively enjoyed ranked games in League. But now that League is shifting a little bit more towards casuals, I think that PvE would be vastly different if it released now.
I mean, I won't like comment on lore. Like I've never worked on lore, so I'm not, you know, sure what they've got planned. But I agree, the PvE mode was super fun, and I had a blast playing that when it was there. I wouldn't look at it as much as like PvP versus PvE. I'd encourage you to think about it as what's the fantasy that can be delivered by those different experiences. And something that I think PvE disproportionately succeeds at is the broken power fantasy. Because when you're playing those PvE games, you can break the game. And that's kind of the fun, right? You get like a crazy combination of stuff. Like, you know, you play like a Slay the Spire or a Diablo or, you know, any of these like PvE games. And once your build like, you know, triggers, or once your build like, you know, catches fire, that's when it really feels fun. And you can't do that in PvP, obviously, because it's a human on the other side. So you want like, you know, gameplay integrity and fairness. But I think that's part of the fun in PvE, is that like being able to break the game and you kind of feel naughty like you're breaking the game, even though the game designer obviously, you know, anticipated everything you were going to do and has planned for it. But the genius in it is like letting you feel like you're breaking the game, and that's kind of the fun, at least for me.
I'm like connected to that. This is also like maybe your input on this as a designer would help. Like when Odyssey was originally released, the issue was that people played it. They you know, played like 3 games and then they were like, all right, I'm done with this. I had my fun. And I realized internally, I assume, the developers thought like, you know, maybe there's not an audience for this. It was really cool, but, you know, it didn't last that long. I thought that maybe, I don't think it was a flop, but, you know, the quote-unquote flop of the PvE game mode might have been in the design itself, because I realized if Odyssey was released as a roguelike, where you were picking what augments you would get every time you played, instead of like setting the augments ahead of time, I think the replayability would be on such a different level that Odyssey would be way more popular that way, because replayability would be, you know, massive. So I almost think like there are a lot of people who just don't care about PvE, and in my opinion, instead of being like, okay, the League community doesn't like PvE that much, instead I think there is still room to improve PvE, and I definitely think there are ways you can actually, make the PvP players interested in this. I don't know. It's just kind of like my view that, the success of PvE can definitely go up if you make the right design decisions, and I think you can still change the PvE genre so that it is more successful. I don't know if what I'm saying, does it make sense?
What I'm hearing is Nakrib really wants PvE inside League of
I
Legends.
really,
That's what I'm hearing.
please.
I mean,
can
it's
we
been
get back to
4
PvE?
years. It has been 4 years since the last time like PvE has kind of rolled around. For me though, what I really want to see back is something like Dark Star, the Dark Star mode.
Fun. That was
Yeah,
fun to
it was
make.
it was so fast. Like, I just want shorter things that I can just be like, oh yeah, I got enough time to just hop in, do a quick one.
So, Dark Star was the first time we made a brand new map for one of our game modes. And you can probably see the progression because internally, like within our team, we were building a lot of art muscle on the team with some of our tools. And I think before Dark Star, we did Blood Moon. And you might have remember, so we did the winter map for Summoner's Rift way back in the day. And that was like a first sort of, like
Do you mean
test.
do you mean like the semi-updated, or do you mean the very first one with like the Olympics flags and stuff?
So the very, very first one was a bit rougher. One of the updated one was us, where we came through, we put like little poros everywhere, and they would like play little games and jump on each other and all that sort of stuff. And then we did Blood Moon to like challenge ourselves again. I'm like, okay, what if we can do a different theme instead of winter? What if we can do this like, cool Blood Moon thematic? So that like stretched us again to, update, change the map. It, takes time and effort and energy of like devs to do, so it's not free. And then after that, we were like, we think we could maybe build another map. But we couldn't build one the size of Summoner's Rift because that's huge and it takes a lot of people a lot of time, obviously. But we started, coalescing around the idea of like a smaller map. And there's a lot of advantages to like small circular maps like Dark Star because it's easier to make. The performance is good against the skybox. We don't have to do as much geo. There's lots of like game development value for a map that shape. So that was like a good test to make a new map, and that was the first time ever we made a new map. I think that was technically the first new map ever since Crystal Scar, probably, I want to say.
Butcher's Bridge.
Magma Chamber.
Well, Butcher's Bridge. Butcher's Bridge was a skin of Aram though, so I guess that's like the underlying bones were there, and then there was like a lot done on top. To be fair, it was a lot. Like the team did an amazing job with all the stuff
It's
on
still
top
the
of
best
that.
map. Like no contest.
Yeah,
like
Chibiin is
visually,
a
And it
it's like-
rarely gets used.
Yeah,
Chibiin loves this one.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I'm not sure in modern League of Legends like what the complications or like tech debt on stuff like Butcher's Bridge is, but I agree. Butcher's Bridge was an amazing map. Some of the artists from the Butcher's Bridge, like the people that made the map team, eventually came and joined our team, making game modes for many years afterwards. And extra trivia, one of the lead artists from the Butcher's Bridge map eventually went and joined a cool video game dev down in Texas called Airship Syndicate.
That
And so when we started brainstorming for Ruin King, it was very easy to discuss Bilgewater because two of the devs down at Airship Syndicate actually worked on the Butcher's Bridge map back in 2015 at Riot. So I already knew them, and it made it very easy to find Bilgewater. I think that's not the only reason, but it's a little bit of why I think Bilgewater looks so good in Ruin King because it's some of the same DNA.
Oh my god, that explains. Oh my, yeah, I can imagine.
That was a rabbit hole.
Our the game industry is very small.
Yeah, true.
Is the takeaway. But
God damn it! I had a question and I forgot in the middle of all of this. Damn it!
Oh,
we got here from Darkstar.
No, I know. Is it true that like Riot highly values like the look of Summoner's Rift? Like I've heard somewhere that one of the reasons why you guys never like drastically changed Summoner's Rift, or like, you know, why you never gave it skins like, you know, now Summoner's Rift looks like it is made in, or it's in built over, and you know, suddenly everything is like built over. Is it true that Riot values Summoner's Rift to look like the way it does? Because like when you go to Twitch or when you go to YouTube, you can immediately recognize the map there. Is it true that Summoner's Rift is like partially part of the marketing because it is so recognizable?
I mean,
or is that like made up?
I honestly don't know, because I've actually never worked on Summoner's Rift in a funny way. I've worked on everything that isn't Summoner's Rift. So, you know, we did stuff with Dominions mode, we did stuff with Aram, we borrowed Twisted Tree Line, Hexakill, we did Darkstar. Like, I've done everything except Summoner's Rift over the years. So I can't actually speak to that. Although, you know, my like player POV would be, yeah, it's probably handy for it to, you know, look pretty similar over the years and to be recognizable. It's like, you know, it would be like changing a soccer pitch in a way, right? Like, it's kind of handy that a soccer pitch looks the same for the last 2 decades, because you're like, oh, that's a soccer pitch.
But that's like a clarity issue, technically. You know, like it's like the silhouette argument with a lot of champions. Like, oh yeah, if you like, you need to recognize that it's Lee Sin, like at a first glance, because of the pose, because of the silhouette and everything. But then it's like, League of Legends is so much more than just ranked and competitiveness. I feel like what Necro was talking about, like the skins for the
fun.
map. Yeah, it's like, for example, Heroes of the Storm. It had a lot of maps and a lot of different maps and a lot of different modes that were in rotation. Like you wouldn't know which map you would end up on, I think, unless you were playing ranked, and I may be wrong about that because I never played ranked, but yeah. So like that was part of the fun. Like that was part of the fun. It's like, oh, you're just picking your champion. You just don't know which skin, sort of, because like a lot of maps were like similar, but like just different skin. But like you didn't know where you would end up, but you still knew what Heroes of the Storm was about.
For ARAM, I believe for ARAM that will work really well, because ARAM is not supposed to be taken seriously anyway. Yeah. And like if you queue into ARAM and you don't know if it's Butcher's Bridge or, you know,
the built over bridge for ARAM.
No. Okay, yeah, that's legitimately one of the things that I was like, oh my god, this would fit so well. Why is that not a thing?
Oh my.
It would be interesting to try and like figure out how to get the angle for the the vanishing point perspective on the bridge part, because like the part of it that's iconic would be sticking up at the camera, so you need to, like, I don't know, tilt it, or but yeah, I could see that being possible.
Oh, and you can see Zon in the back and shit like that.
No,
fighting on the bridge.
See, but you know, if you go to the lore, theoretically,
just hire us. Right.
Theoretically,
just hire you guys.
Theoretically, the arcane.
What have we got? We got modeling. We need texture artists. We need.
But yeah, I would actually, because you can either go with the Arcane Bridge, which is the one in above the water, and that would be cool. It wouldn't be as cool as like the real, like the canon in the canon universe, you know, bridge
Zone,
where like
looking down into
Zone beneath it. That would be
with, like,
so badass.
Like if it was the Promenade, I guess, something like high up on the higher tiers of like Zorn. Like so versioning on Piltover, and then you look down into Entresol,
and
like
you
down
see
below.
Seraphine eating ice cream like it is in the arch on the bridge.
Speaking
that
of
would be cool though.
Someone made a joke about Seraphine on Twitter the other day.
Don't worry.
I have to say, I still appreciate that Riot is kind of like embracing the meme around Seraphine. I love that.
I'm not sure if the Seraphine mains appreciate it.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
They don't like the jokes about their favorite champion for some reason.
Hey, but Skarner is gonna get VG.
I mean,
we'll see what jokes Skarner get.
I'm not sure that's entirely unique to Seraphine though. Let's be fair. I think any champ with, you know, like a.
But it's like,
really...
do you think Katarina players would be mad if you made like, oh, Katarina goes zoom and throws daggers and shit?
That sounds like you're volunteering to find out. Let's go, Chibiin. Chibiin, that sounds like you're volunteering to find out for us.
He
likes to shake the bee's nest.
Let's go.
That was fun.
MS Paint. Let's.
All right, do you want to go through different game modes then, so we can just talk about?
Sorry, before we move off Darkstar, one other like trivia thing that I just remembered. So Darkstar was actually the first and last mode that a game designer made for us after they had already made a couple of champions, and they've been working on champions, and they wanted to try making a game mode as well. See if you can guess which 2 champions this game designer made before they came and made Darkstar. Think about how sort of unique and quirky Darkstar is as a mode compared to the others, and then try and guess which 2 champions. Also remember the time. This is, what, 2017? See if you can guess which 2 champions they made.
Was it Morello? Oh, hold on. I'm just like thinking, like, okay, it's gotta be Thresh. Who's the other one?
Because Thresh was Darkstar.
Well, no, Thresh was certainly T.
I thought I was gonna guess like Thresh and Jin, but
no, that's August and certainly T.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like
So the designer just finished making Aurelion Sol.
Oh.
And the champion they made before Aurelion Sol was Bard.
Ooh.
So we had the Bard Aurelion Sol designer came over and helped make Darkstar.
That is cool, though.
Wish I invited Nicky Boy then. He would have been.
No, he would have loved it.
Oh man.
But yeah,
like, the jump from like Bard to Aurelion Sol to like Darkstar is huge. Like in terms of, oh my god.
But the thing that I would, well, see, the thing that I would say is that they all have really strong thematic design, which is a good, which I think is a strength of that particular designer. It's like the gameplay that you're doing and the like buttons you're pressing, like the whole feel of it, like sort of coalesces quite well. I think like Bard in particular, I think is really good at that, and Darkstar did a really good job too, because it wasn't just the moment-to-moment gameplay; it was the map, and it was like, you know, the trying to alley-oop people into the massive gravity well in the middle of the map.
It was so simple but so fun.
I really enjoyed Bunny Fufu's challenge videos where he was trying to get like 50 in a row without dying. He'd like got a challenge from his stream to get like 50 people in a row into the Darkstar without dying, and it took him like, I'm guessing it took him hours to do it, but he eventually did it. It was pretty funny.
It's Rabbit Llama. I just found the designer.
Yes. Yeah, it was Rabbit.
Oh, they only made those 2 champions. I was like, oh, that has to be a really creative person. I wonder who else they made. Oh,
they are super creative.
Oh man, but like that's the thing as well. Like I wish I could ask you like I know you cannot answer the question because you're not working on all of this like right now, etc. But like I really wish it's pretty much the same for like every single game mode. But I really wish Riot could like give us an answer that isn't just like, oh yeah, we just pulled out the numbers and it just doesn't work anymore. Well, like an answer on like why not bringing those like just from time to time, like even if it is a week or a weekend, or like just like the rotating game modes that we had before. Like okay, game modes are not that popular compared to League. At the same time, League is marketed about Summoner's Rift and ranked games, and everything is about that. If you play something else than that, you're like a filthy casual, just like TFT players are like boomers nowadays. But it's like,
where is this going? Where is this going?
No, but it's like,
how hard was it really to make these?
Yeah, how hard it is to like make them and also to bring them back.
I mean, yeah, I can't speak to Modern League. I can speak to back when we were doing, rotating game modes until I left. I left League at the start of 2018 to go and begin founding Riot Forge. So I don't know anything from sort of 2018 onwards, but I think the short answer is it is surprisingly difficult compared to what people might think, because game dev is difficult. There's lots of, tech debt, there's lots of upkeep, and then there's also the consideration of like, even if it just worked perfectly, exactly as you imagine, exactly in a time capsule from 2015 or whatever, would that be the right thing to do? I mean, a thing that I often got asked for a mode was Season 1 League. That I would often get asked about, like, you guys should do a mode, and it's like Season 1 League of Legends, and it's like exactly like a time capsule of Season 1 League. And I think, well, first of all, that's like impossible. That doesn't exist. But even if you could do that, would that be fun?
I mean,
because Season 1 League was really rough. Like, there's some crazy stuff there. Like, TF's ulti used to just be his W, I think.
Yeah.
And his gold card was an AoE stun. It wasn't one person. It was like gold and red card together, basically. Like, there was some pretty crazy stuff back then. So I think a lot of players might not consider, like, there's a reason the game has evolved and grown, like, over the years, is because it was making it more fun and, like, you know, iterating.
I think Classic WoW is a proof of this, because the exact same thing would happen, because people figured out the meta in the modern days.
Right.
So Season 1 League wouldn't be playing Morgana Singed Bottom. It would be playing Ashe and, I don't know, you know, proper support.
Eric.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be you know, modern
AP
meta
Scion.
for an old game. Exactly.
So when I hear people ask for Season 1 League, what I really hear is, I think I know secret information about a really broken OP thing, which no one else knows, and I would love to go and use that to pub stomp. What people don't realize is everybody knows what you know.
Yeah.
They can just Google it, and you would go and play it, and literally everybody would be trying to play that TF or play that Ashe or whatever the thing is, and it would just degenerate really quickly.
I'm having flashbacks to release LeBlanc.
Oh.
As a LeBlanc player, she was fine.
Oh, you're LeBlanc. Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
As a LeBlanc player, I see nothing wrong with this.
I don't remember that.
Answer.
It was rough. It wasn't like
Grasp?
release Shin. It wasn't like Shin
Combo,
rough, but it was
dead.
rough.
That's Fire Grasp. Oh no, I have flashback now.
Yeah, you just-
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's Fire Grasp, your ability combo. Whoever you were looking at just instantly died.
It seems fine. Counterplay. It's good.
Yeah.
And then there's the one I abused a lot was just Armor Shred Jarvan.
With
Hey, I like to
was
play
fun.
The
all
Q?
Orion.
So, like, I think this is a good example of, I know we're talking about like regular League, but bringing it back to like the modes example, you know, even if the modes just work perfectly exactly as they are right now, are they the right thing for League today in 2022? And I don't know the answer to
Yes.
that because
Yes.
I'm not, yeah, okay.
'Cause it's
I don't know the
PvE
answer
game
because
mode.
I don't work, you know, on League anymore, but I think there's like a lot to consider beyond just, you know, does it work technically? Because the answer is that they don't just work out of the box. That's not how video game development, you know, works.
I mean, I still believe that every game eventually boils down to the casual play. Eventually,
Yes.
tryhards will try. They will see their ceiling. You know, the
It'll get old.
ranked will eventually just like go away, and the casual player base will be the core player base. And when that moment happens, I just hope League is gonna be ready for that. And I think PvE is actually the answer. Once again, I want PvE, please.
Wouldn't be the case for like the current state of LOR though? It's like, I mean, we don't have any stats, like none of us do, but like, could it be like a stretch to think that LOR is like the PvE there is working because just people are not as like competitive as when the game launched?
I think that's because people got heavily burnt in Hearthstone. Because Hearthstone was brutal for like climbing, and you actually paying to get cards to actually like grind ranked and stuff like that. So I think people got burnt in Hearthstone, and then Legends of Runeterra was a really awesome casual game to play instead of
The
that.
best video card game.
I mean, we know, I believe, they didn't give us specific numbers, but we know that the PvE, more people are playing PvE in Legends of Runeterra than all other game modes combined, which means normal PvP and ranked PvP. So yeah, PvE is successful there.
Yeah, but like just like Rowan said, I think it's more of a like a power fantasy of the like itself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Also a
Just
change
making
from like the
progress.
regular gameplay. Like I think some people would like alternate between regular like fun and then go to like PvE as a casual to just chill out.
Yeah, I mean, once again, in my case, it is that I just, you know, I've been playing video games for a very long time, and I've had my fair share of PvP. As I've been grinding ranked in League since season 1. So you know, like, you know, I'm just done, and you know, there is not really an alternative for me in League.
Yeah.
What he's trying to say is Riot Forge needs to up their release schedule.
Oh yeah, that
Oh.
as well.
Or Project F, please. Be
Or-
fast.
Oh, wasn't
Or-
this? Yeah.
Or we could take our time and make sure each game is banging when we release it.
Yes,
or
absolutely.
you could develop more games, so then by the time one is released,
That's the solution. Just times everything by 2. Just times everything by 2.
Exactly.
No, by
Number-
10.
Hire
by 10.
more people.
Oh,
hire
by
more
10. Is that everything? Like number of chairs, number of straws in the drinks, number
Yeah.
of like just
Amount of
times
game
everything by 10.
studios.
Yeah. Easy. This is what I've been doing wrong.
Yeah, it's what Tencent does. It just buys everyone.
Okay, no. Okay. Okay, Riot got, a portion back, alright, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh wait, didn't? Oh yeah, no. Riot invested
They bought.
in
Didn't they
4T.
buy someone? Hold on. Anyway, game modes.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
Gamemode.
that went to like I don't know. I don't think any of us are financial advisors.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless there's something I don't know. Unless there's something I don't know about Chibiin, and he's actually like partly doing podcasts.
No,
but-
I'm actually super bad.
No, you don't give him money. You don't give him
Yeah,
money.
I know that as
Don't
well.
give him money. He'll make a VTuber model with it.
No, I secretly want to. I just wanted to say. Hold on. Didn't Tencent just buy someone?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, recently
was
they
they?
bought another. Yeah.
They bought a
bought it.
stake in the Arcane Studio, didn't they?
No.
Yeah, that was in 4T, but like
No,
they
that
also
was-
bought another studio. Yeah.
Yeah, and they bought something big, and I don't know what it was. What was it? God
Let me
dang
Google
it.
that.
Yeah, Google. Anyway, we can talk about other game modes. Tencent bought, and what is it gonna be?
Oh, yeah, the song of Tequila Works.
Oh.
I don't think that's why I
The,
meant.
the song of New Devs, yeah.
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 Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
I knew it was
yes.
something.
Yes.
I knew it was something league related. I just
Yeah,
couldn't
exactly.
remember what.
Exactly. I knew. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
why I
yeah.
default to Arcane.
But like
Yeah.
Rowan said nothing. Like Rowan, you
I mean, you
should've-
guys,
Yeah,
you guys
Rowan,
are telling.
you knew.
You guys are telling the story. I'm doing the best. This is my shocked face. I'm doing. Can you see? You see look how shocked I am.
Oh,
You guys are
man.
telling the story. not
So
me.
internal playtests have gone well.
Investors are pleased.
Oh man.
Anyway, game modes. So
Gamemode.
Let's talk about Ascension.
Brawlers. Oh.
no Ascensions.
Oh.
Or do you want to talk brawlers
No,
first?
no, no. I mean, Ascension is fine. Let's just go.
I think
by-
Ascension came before BlackMarketBrawlers.
Yeah, it did.
Because
Ascension was the
Dominion,
second
right?
mode we ever made. Well, that I did with the team, or was it the? I can't remember if we did Doombots first or Ascension. I think Doombots came first, and then we did Ascension after that. Yeah. Ascension for me was like the purest version of like TDM in a MOBA.
Oh yeah.
Like, do you guys ever play like TDM in Quake or like Team Deathmatch with a stock counter or
yes.
something like that? Like,
A
It
long
was-
time ago.
yeah, right, a long time ago. But it was, we enjoyed it. So Ascension was kind of meant to be that like Team Deathmatch like feeling in a MOBA,
Yeah.
where you could just brawl and practice brawling, and you didn't have to worry about lane. You didn't have to worry about last hitting creeps. It was just, and it was also fair because everyone got exactly the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's not exactly fair. Different champions
yeah.
power spike at different
Yeah,
gold
exactly. I was
values.
about to
So
say.
yeah, it's not exactly perfect,
Getting
but it's a
wrecked by
facsimile.
Katarina and Rengar
Yeah,
and all that shit.
It's like the roughest facsimile of fairness for like a quick mode, but yeah, Ascension was just, I don't know, it was just fun for practicing team fights, and then
I
obviously
feel
if
like
you could,
Deathmatch
like,
though is like one of
ascended.
the hardest to make too in MOBA.
yeah.
So
I feel like we played lots of other like iterations of deathmatch, and we landed on that like pentagon shape, like 5-point with a triangular like secondary objectives and then tertiary objective in the middle as just like balanced. It just felt right. I remember that was the first time we experimented with a challenge summoner icon. Do you remember the perfect ascension
Yes.
icon?
Probably,
yeah.
yeah. I probably have it. as
I
well.
got
That was an idea that we had, like, I don't know, it was kind of close to the end of the thing. And we had the idea of like, what if we made a icon which actually most people wouldn't get? And it was the first time we'd ever discussed something like that on League for, like it was an actual like challenge achievement type thing. And so we made it. And I remember it was pretty controversial at the time because a lot of people were like, understandably, pretty mad that they didn't get it in time, or they were like, "This, it's too hard, it's ridiculous, it's." But I think
Yeah, it was very hard, but eventually I got it.
it was. But that's kind of like, and that comes to the design of exclusivity is what generates the value on that, right? If everybody got it, it wouldn't be cool.
I'm gonna mold about Riven. I'm gonna mold.
The first thing that I ever molded about in League was actually Championship Riven. I got the original, and I was like, this feels good. And then came the second version.
So like, there's different types of exclusivity. There's like, purchased exclusivity or timed exclusivity. We were trying to hit like skill exclusivity with that perfect Ascension icon. It's like, here is a thing that most people will have equal chance to get because, the level barrier is low for that mode. You just go in and play. I think today it's still one of the summoner icons I see used on so many players' profiles because I guess it must have really hit hard. Like, a lot of people can describe to me the game. They got their perfect Ascension icon, like even though it was bloody. Like I remember when I got it on live, and it was a Jax game, and I was playing as Jax, and I remember the game, and it was like this flawless execution, and we got the icon, and it just like felt really good.
I can't remember it because the game before I got it was one where we were about to get it and then we just lost it right at the end, kind of thing.
No.
So I got so mad.
That
the
became
entire
like the
game
meta
went
as
so
well. That became the meta where people realized towards the end that like the other team was getting close to get it, so they started like worrying less about the play and they were just trying to block people from getting the icon. Like it became a gatekeeping on the icon as well. Like as the meta evolved.
If I was a designer, my argument would be that you already have ranked icons. So if someone was a 100% collector of all icons, they wouldn't be getting the ranked icons anyway. So for them, the hit of not getting the minion icon wouldn't be that bad. That would be my argument for actually having like a challenging icon to get.
I mean, it wasn't a perfect design by any means, but it did show us that there was like some people really got attached to that icon and the experience that they remember of like getting it and completing the challenge. And so we experimented again with it on things like StarGuardian. With Onslaught, we did the icon for Onslaught mode in StarGuardian. I think it was if you get an S in Onslaught, was it? We gave you a like challenge icon for that.
I need to log into the game because I think I
remember what Onslaught is.
Did it again for Odyssey as well.
Odyssey had one for completing the hardest difficulty.
Yeah,
I love that one. Okay, so what I loved about that so much is that it was hard, but we actually got a team of 4 people on stream, and we were like carrying viewers through the hardest difficulty, and it kind of there was a magical community moment. About that, where like people who kind of like enjoyed the content of Odyssey, if they came to our stream, we would help them accomplish what they needed. I just love the community behind that. Anyway.
Yeah. Alright, second game mode, BlackMarketBrawlers.
Okay.
One that actually never came back, like ever. It was used once for the Build Water map, and then that was it.
Yeah. So, I mean, pros and cons of Black Market Brawlers. In hindsight, I think splitting the focus of the mode probably wasn't the best idea because you couldn't be sure of what the main thing of the mode was. Was it the black market items or was it the minions that you summoned in lane?
Yeah, super quickly for people who don't know. Basically, as you kill minions and stuff, you collected special currency, which you could then spend in the shop to upgrade your lane, essentially.
Yeah. So the idea was we wanted to give you this fantasy of being able to like customize the wave in your lane. That was like the goal. Is like we let you kind of handcraft the wave that you want from this selection of minions. Some of them are ranged, some of them are tanky, some of them are like assassiny. And so depending on what your champion is, you could like build minions which offset the weaknesses of your champion, or you just straight up build minions which like double down on the strengths of your champion. But the idea was that you could like craft this wave and it would evolve over the course of the game. That was like one half of the mode. And the other half was we put all of these experimental black market items in the shop, which did interesting things similarly, like offset weaknesses of common builds or double down on strengths of common like champion archetypes. One example would be like there was what was it called, like the Dusk. It was like a desert blade or like a mirror desert blade, which basically gave a small like move block blink to Eddie carries, which I think now has probably come back as Gale Force in like, I don't know, or it might have been like the genesis of it.
Yeah.
I think many items from Black Market Brawlers like eventually became like the seeds or bubbled up into other stuff, except Trickster's Glass. That is an item that we would probably never do.
Was it
I don't want to say never, but never is a strong word. But
what did that
Trickster's
do?
Glass, yeah. Trickster's
the
Glass
thing
let
that makes you go
you
back?
copy the appearance of one of your allies.
Oh yeah, it was Nico.
Right, but
Yeah.
there is a difference between doing that on an item and doing it on a champion. When you do it on a champion, you can still enter a social contract. So when I'm in that loading screen, when I see Evelyn in a loading screen, we all understand what we're looking at. Okay, wards have a different value now. For this game, we see Evelyn. We all know what's up. When you're in a game and you see a Teemo on the loading screen, you're like, okay, there's going to be shrooms everywhere. We all know what's up. When you see Nico, you can prepare for that. You're like, okay, in this game, there's a Nico. We can understand that. But if you put it on an item, it means now I can't trust what my eyes see at any point in time in any game. And that's not healthy.
Bamboozle. That's the best strategy. That's
not healthy.
actually insane.
I mean, you can still check the scoreboard and look at other people's items and see if they go or not.
I mean, that becomes an arms race for UX though, because there's an argument to say like, well, you shouldn't be able to do that because it invalidates the item. Okay, so we cover that up. So now there's the next step of like, should you be able to or shouldn't you be able to? And it just becomes like an arms race of really, that's not something that should live on an item which any champ could buy. It's a great thing to live inside a kit that only one champion can do, which is like her special thing.
Just like the vision changing era when it's like, oh, they have a Teemo. Guess we're gonna have to wait for a cannon minion now.
Back in my day,
Oh,
you
yeah.
could click on the Shaco clone
I
and see
remember.
that it had
I
your
had an
items.
item to like solve that problem before, like literally an 80 carry item, and we're like, oh, now you have to wait for a cannon minion or get the inhibitor first, because otherwise you lose.
Or like, way back was a Shaco clone that had the red buff, and the other one didn't have the red buff. Like,
I remember that.
You're like, all right, well, obviously it's the one that has the red buff. So any like
That's
social,
those
social or visual deception gameplay in games like this gets really tricky because you need to catch all those edge cases, otherwise you're invalidating the item, the skill, like for the person using it. But then also it gets like pretty sticky for counterplay and all that stuff.
So was your team the one that came up with all the items, or did you get help from the League team?
We actually collaborated with the items team over on League of Legends. So
Wait,
our
there's
team.
an items team?
I was about to ask about
What
that.
the
Well, I'm using like a loose name for the team. So I mean, it's a system. They are the systems team, but they owned lots of parts of Summoner's Rift back in the day, and they also happened to own the item system back in the day. I'm not sure what the team name is these days, but like that was loosely the team back in 2015. So my team made some of the items, but we also went and collaborated with lots of people over on that team because they had lots of item ideas on the cutting room floor where like maybe they were like cool but they just didn't take it to the finish line, or it's too OP for ranked, or it was broken, or whatever it was. So we were able to like collect a lot of those and bring them all together in Black Market Brawlers and then put them in the shop so you could buy them. And then ultimately I think Deadman's Plate was put in permanently. Because if you remember the story from Butcher's Bridge with Gangplank getting his arm blown off, so it was
Lost Chapter as well, and
Lost
Staff
Chapter
of Flowing Water.
I think Lost Chapter and Stuff Flying Water happened years later though, didn't they?
They got reintroduced.
Yeah.
Do you just remember that, or are you that prepared?
I pulled it up on the wiki. I remember Dead Man's Plate.
Yeah.
I could remember I thought a few items did get through, but I just couldn't remember which ones. And there was some that did make it through, but then got removed like a few patches later.
I don't remember those ones.
Martyr's Gambit.
Oh yeah. Like the
Because Alawi's got a voice line for that, which no one could triggers.
Oh.
It was added and then got removed. Like next patch.
It's actually sad.
yeah, it was a fun mode to make, but I think we probably would have done a better job of just picking one of those two systems to focus down on and helped it shine, rather than split focus on the items and the minions at the same time. Although those minions went on to become like enemies and stuff in Ruin King, like the razor fins and the little crab cannons, the little plunder crabs.
Also
Oh, yeah.
Odyssey, but you didn't work on it. But yeah, some of them actually
Yeah, I
went
mean,
to Odyssey.
I assume they borrowed the models and the animation that we did because it was they were available. So
But yeah, it was actually like now that you talk about it, it's actually a really cool nod to like the old Bridgewater era map, because all of those models, like a lot of League players never got to like see them, pretty much.
That is true, yeah.
Ryan, yeah.
Because in the end, like last time Bilgewater was up. Oh wait, no, they actually bring Bilgewater, like I mean the Butcher Bridge map back, but like it was once for like a really short time. It was also
I
because a
don't
lot
even
of
remember
people.
that.
I think it could have been 2019. It is something
Think-
like
a while
that.
ago.
Yeah, I think I remember like in the before times in 2019, like
Yeah.
or 18ish, they brought it back for like one run.
Yeah, well, like,
Yeah.
other than that, like a lot of like League players just never got to see like any of those, and like, until the Ruin King game mode.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
mean
really
the,
cool.
the crab cannons are identical in Ruin King, I believe, for example.
Yeah. I think I remember going and digging up the old concept art from 2015 and working with the team to be like, hey, we always joked those plunder crabs, if you look closely, their claws, their nippers are tied up with like rope, but they have a cannon on their back. And we're like, is that for safety? Like, did they tie up their claws for safety? You don't want anyone to get like, nipped, right, by the crab, but they've
Yeah.
got cannons on their back. But
Exactly.
sure,
Just-
we'll just make sure that their like claws are tied up.
It's just a ranged unit. Like, why have range and melee attacks? Just have range. Just use the cannon.
Yeah, but what if he wants to like pick up a cup of tea or something? He can't. He's just like, well, damn.
I think it's to prevent him from carrying a knife.
Oh,
Yeah, right. He's got a cannon. What do you doesn't need a knife?
But a crab with a knife is so much more dangerous.
He doesn't need a knife, but he does need caffeinated beverages in the morning, so he can't pick up anything.
Wait, what other things were there? Was also like the razorfinch, so like the sort of wolf dog
that's
water
razorfinch.
fish thingy.
They were based on like a shark rat.
A waft
the-
rat,
Oh.
even, wasn't it?
Yeah, like a wolf
Yeah,
rat. 'Cause
wolf rat.
the like fin on the back for the wolf rats was like based on a shark fin, so they were trying to look like aquatic, but also they were giant rats.
I think the last
Butcher's Bridge has a chibi version.
Yes.
the last thing I remember from like those mobs were the turtles, like big ass turtles.
It was
Oh,
also
yeah.
the aquapod was this like cute little
Yeah.
floating eyeball with a little periscope.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
I always called it
And-
the minion.
The
Yeah.
minion.
And that has reappeared somewhere, hasn't it?
I
Maybe
don't know.
I remember the turtle guys. Those I remember those because they
Yeah,
used
me-
the same skeletal mesh as the blue buff. I remember that. That was a really cool reuse of those.
Oh, not a. Oh.
We were scrappy, just
Oh, true.
using what we could.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I totally forgot
It's
about
the
those.
same Smash animation.
Yeah, I remember. I was a nerd back when I was 15 or whatever.
Oh my god.
Scrappy back in the day, doing what we could.
I mean, it just
I mean, it's
works.
clever,
Like,
if anything.
yeah, like you're
So, I mean,
reusing animation
Because
it's
you can't
always fine.
tell.
So
Yeah.
that's like a good example of like what you guys are touching on. You could look at some of the old modes we did where we were smaller back then and we were like building stuff out, and then as we started to add more devs and we started to add more artists, see the art quality of the modes go up over the years until eventually we built things like, StarGuardian Onslaught or the Project map or the Darkstar map. Like, you can clearly see the linear progression of art quality over time as we got better and better.
Was so genius, and I don't understand one thing. I legitimately do not.
I don't either. God damn it! Why can't we understand?
No, but like when StarGuardian was released, I remember tweeting. You can probably find my old tweet about this. When StarGuardian was released, you cleverly reused the models for there was Vel'Koz, there was Kha'Zix, and there was one more, I think. I don't know.
Shelly.
There was Kog'Maw, yes. I don't think
we also used Skarners, Cho'Gaths. Yes. We also used I think the Rift Herald was the final boss. Yep.
And why has that never became a chroma skin? I love those models so much.
I remember
I
remember we talked about that back in the day, and we talked with the skins team about it, and the general feeling was that these honestly just weren't up to snuff to be even they're not. I don't think we'd be comfortable asking for people to pay money for those. They were our team did them as things for our game mode, but I don't think they're of the quality bar that you need to be to hit a chroma. I think they would need extra work to get there.
Slap it for 100 RP.
Okay, you can actually tell me your opinion on this. What would be the general thought of the team? What would they think about these being a reward from the hardest challenge? What if you gave these chromas as a reward from getting?
I mean, I don't think it's it's not just the purchase thing. It's the is that a thing you'd be proud to have representing Cho'Gath or Kog'Maw in the game?
Cool.
If someone looks at a screen. If someone looks at a screenshot or a video of League and they see this pitch black with neon radioactive green outlines or something, it was cool for a game mode for enemies, but I don't think it hits the bar for a player-controlled.
I liked Rusted Blitzcrank, alright? I actually like that skin.
Notice we don't do any more Rusted Blitzcrank.
We have weird chromas that were supposed to be skins way in the past, like Goth Annie and all that stuff, before they actually reworked the models.
I mean, I would argue chroma skins for the original Garen were.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, Garen. I think it was 4 skins in a row that were just recolors of this, or just the sword that was changed.
Right. I mean, remember way back in the day when League first came out, skins were basically just chromas. They the original Nunu skins were it's red Nunu and green Nunu.
Brown.
But clearly that wasn't good enough, because over the years, I think we've gotten way better at skins than just doing that. And
so
I don't
has the
think,
price.
I don't think doing, this was acceptable in 2009. Doing that again in 2022 probably wouldn't fly.
We paid $5 to $10 to just have a chroma back in the days.
Yeah, I remember that.
In the end, it's just... Even if you don't make people pay, even if it's oh yeah, okay, so you beat the challenge, the hardest challenge for StarGuardian, and then you have the chromas unlockable using Blue Essence.
Yeah, I don't think it's a money problem. I think ultimately the skins team decide what is good and good enough to be considered a skin in the game, and I trust their judgment on hey, this just isn't at the quality bar. And I remember back at the time we agreed with them. We're these work as enemies in a game mode, but
I love them so much.
But I don't think they're at the quality bar for it.
For that to work in the first place, we would have to get the game mode back one way or another, which is
and then okay, so we need to start a new campaign on social media
for StarGuardian.
For StarGuardian, and
just bring back PvE game modes. The
StarGuardian roster is much bigger now. Okay, we can play as many more StarGuardians now.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember when we did the StarGuardian mode, that was the year we introduced the 5 new, that was the team. It was the Ari's team was taking over from Lux's team, so it was the changing of the guard.
Wait,
that was the storyline back then.
Was it the first? I thought it was the second generation. Was it the first one?
No, it was the second one, because StarGuardian Lux was first, and then second generation was.
Oh yeah.
It was
Ari,
the first team.
Oh god, my head.
And then it was Ari was the leader, and then it also had Jinx, MF, Lulu, and Poppy.
Oh, and the third was with Nico, Zoe.
Ezreal.
But they never got a
with the evil StarGuardians.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love those chromas.
Yeah.
Those
Hey.
models are so good.
I think as a chroma, it's even if it's like, oh, but it doesn't hit the bars. Like some chromas are actually just a recolor, or like a color shift, or like or pink champagne. So at this point,
champagne
like
pink, that's
just
the joke around me, yeah.
like just bring back the like they already have the texture. Just like touch them up a tiny bit and it's fine.
Yeah, I would
Nobody's gonna complain about that.
Sounds like you need to lobby the skins team on League.
Yes.
I mean, dude, I have
Yes.
so much thing to ask them. Like, just,
Oh, yeah,
anyway.
Chibiin is the guy. Okay, anyway.
Chibiin's constantly begging for high resolution textures.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it doesn't exist. Oh wait, it does, but it doesn't. Well, whatever.
Okay.
Hexakill, you worked on this as well. Why?
Because it was fun.
Why Hexakill?
It
5 wasn't
we-
enough. You had to bring one more there.
so this is trivia which we put out, I think, like way back in the day when we talked about it. I think League originally was being considered as a 6v6 game, which is why under the hood it supported 6 people per team. And I think if you go back and look at some of the very early castings that Freak did,
Yes, I remember that.
the
I actually
old
remember that.
Oh,
the
spectator
old
spell.
spectator was the caster would use the 6th
Oh, yeah.
slot, play
And they-
Teemo, stand
Well.
in the base, and then pan the camera around to cast, and that's how they did the casting. So we already had the support under the hood for 6v6. The first Hexakill the team did, I think, was on SR, and it was good, but going from like 5 to 6 on SR really wasn't like that big of a deal, because you've gone from 10 to 12 players. That's not like a huge delta. So when we did it again, we did it on Twisted Tree Line,
Yeah.
because going from 6 to 12, that's doubling the number of players on the map, and that felt significantly different, as opposed to SR, where it's like, oh, that lane over there somewhere has 1 extra person in it. That wasn't that exciting. So we did it on Twisted Tree Line, and doubling the number of players in a small space, high impact, felt really good. And then we worked on the little those little like altars. You would like pray at the altars, and they had some like buffs for your team and effects as well, just as like secondary, tertiary objectives.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh god.
You always need like some layer of like secondary or tertiary objectives there for like it's good escape valve for losing team. You need to be careful that it doesn't just become hard snowball for winning team, but there's ways around that.
I mean, it's also when you have like deathmatch styled games, you have to force the players to engage somehow, because otherwise you will have like campers and you will have people who will just run away from you. So yeah.
So I actually think that's one of the difficulties of something like a Dominion, or like
Ascension especially.
yeah, like games. So Ascension doesn't struggle with this because it's not a capture and hold point. But games like, I'll just use Dominion as an example. If you're in a team deathmatch with 5 control points, what do you do when one team has 3 points? Because the correct play is to not play. If you've got 3 points, you shouldn't go for a 4th. You should stay and hold 3.
Yeah.
That's just not fun. Like, you're basically, the correct play is to not play the game. Sit on this point and protect it. And split our team.
Sorry,
Yeah.
not Arathi Basin. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, I think Arathi based in WoW as well. It's like, and that's like a design, or like a problem that lots of different games have tried to solve. Dominion, tried to solve it as well. So what do? Do you put like enticing tertiary objectives elsewhere to try and lure the winning team away from their points to go and get it? But if they're already winning, sometimes they just snowball, so you've just given them more power. Like, great, now they just went and got even stronger because they're already winning. So it's it's
The
rough.
first mistake was to launch the game in the first place.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
See, I was gonna say you wouldn't have these problems if it was a PvE.
Yeah, true.
That is a true statement. That is true. You would also not have the same mode at all. It would be completely different.
I mean, if it was Doombots on like, but with the Dominion, like control point thing, it could have been fun.
The AI would be difficult though to pull off for someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not about difficulty; it's about fun.
I mean,
He's
yeah,
correct.
but
He's correct.
Yeah.
It's not his problem to figure out how to program that.
Exactly.
That's our problem. The question is it
Ah,
fun?
okay, I'm gonna use that to get PvE now.
The question is it fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you can spend as much time as you want to like develop the thing. I mean, as much time, no, not really, but you get my point. But like the end goal of it is still, is it actually fun to play or not? Like, is it enjoyable? Like, do people want to play that? And that's the thing that I miss the most. And well, I mean, we still need to go like through the entire list of game mode stuff. But like, that's the
Yeah,
thing
I
that I
was about to
miss the
say.
most. Is it fun to play? Yes, then why not make it happen again? But then we go back to the discussion of like, oh, it doesn't just work like that. It's not plug and play. You need to like recode a bunch of stuff.
Remember,
still-
fun is also very, subjective, and
Yeah,
we can be
that as well.
anecdotal in analysis of fun. As like, but all of my friends that played thought it was fun. It's like, okay, well, that's 9 people. That's-
Just like
How
the
do we
number
check
of
Is that
Iron
what
players.
Nexus Siege was?
Oh,
Oh. Nexus Siege. Nexus Siege is tied for me as probably one of the worst ideas we had for a game mode, and I'll take full ownership for that for both Nexus Siege. The other one I will call out is Nemesis Draft.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just apologize right now. Sorry.
The thing is,
Nemesis,
like
Nemesis Draft was a bad idea.
Yeah. Nexus Siege though, like it's a weird one for me because like I like the base idea, but it just I don't know, it just didn't pan
It's
out.
just not fun
Hold
to
on, I
play.
can't remember. Oh, was it like you got?
So
you got-
basically hold out. It was
an
just basically
attack
hold out.
defend. It was an attack
Yeah.
defend. So I think, in my opinion, I think this second version of Doombots was the successful iteration of Nexus Siege. I think Nexus
Yes.
Siege struggled from two problems. One for me is it was just too complicated. Like
Yeah.
there was just so much. There was a lot going on inside that game mode. There was like a whole mini game we did in the jungle where you would like be playing a hot cold mini game to try and find like, I don't know, you like put the ward outside to build points or something. Like it was just too convoluted. Also, it's just really unintuitive to win by not losing. And I know that sounds weird, but in Nexus Siege you would win by holding out or defending.
Yeah.
That's just not a very not an aspirational way to win. Like it doesn't feel like, yeah, we did it and we like blew up the base or like the boss got defeated. Like it's really hard to understand. Whereas the second version of Doombots did a good version of this because even though you were defending against the Doombots, when we sent Giant Teemo down mid, you had a really clear goal. Oh, kill the Teemo. Got it.
Yeah.
And so you would run and kill the Teemo and then you win or lose based on that.
But then there, like, I'm just thinking about that right now. Why, like, in Warcraft 3, I remember playing like maps where you actually had to hold a point. Like, for example, you had like some sort of like a Lord of the Ring, Helm's Deep castle
I mean,
thingy.
that's the last mission of Warcraft, basically, isn't it? On like Hyjal. Where you're on defense.
Yeah, I mean, wait, a Hydro. Oh yeah, true, yeah. You
You
have
also
to
probably
hold.
mean like an Emphos map, or like a Winter Mall.
I remember those so vaguely.
But
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, why not make like Nexus Siege? Just like the only point is like just holding the fort, and you have like waves of champions and minions and things.
You have no idea
Like-
what they're saying. You know what they're saying? You know what they're saying? You are saying StarGuardian, my friend.
But
I would
Starguard-
say
you don't have to hold for Star.
It sounds more like Doombots. On
yeah.
but
I would
that's-
just say you're describing Doombots version
Yeah,
2.
yeah.
You're actually just describing version 2 of Doombots.
But like with yeah, exactly. But like with why not make that again?
But StarGuardian.
That's what it boils down to. Is like why not just do that again?
But you know, StarGuardian, you stood there, waves of enemies. Hooray!
One
fun.
of the other
Yeah, sure.
one of the other complications in Nexus Siege, like again on the complexity, the hot cold minigame in the jungle, also the items. Remember we had these like constructibles was kind of
Yep.
the point. You like
Yeah.
built little siege cannons and you built like you know, upgrades for your towers and stuff. It was just so much to learn. Like, you know, it kind of went against that rule we had of we want you to bring the knowledge you have from League into these modes and just know how to play. Like, Nidalee is just Nidalee. If you know how to play Nidalee, go have fun playing Nidalee. But you come in and you were like, I could like upgrade my towers with laser beams and like put down siege cannon. Like, all this stuff was just too complicated. I remember one of the items was a flash zone. You would put down a circle and you had unlimited 0 cooldown flashes inside the circle.
I don't remember that, but
It was pretty
so
busted.
long ago. At the same time, it was like what, 10 years ago now? I mean, maybe not, but
Yeah, a lot of those. Yeah,
Yeah,
we are
not 10, but it
close.
was like 2015, 2016, 2015.
oh,
I think.
7.
Yeah, that's 8 years.
Uh,
We're very
uh,
good.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, that hurts. I feel old now.
But yeah, you know, you apologized for Nemesis Draft, but you also made the most successful one, I would argue, according to the numbers, which is OneForAll, because that one is returning all the time. Because
So
yeah,
the team had already. So I jumped in 2014. The team had already like started with like OneForAll, and they had like the first version of NURF when I jumped in. So I wouldn't take credit for making OneForAll, but we definitely did lots of versions of OneForAll over the years. I think we did the mirror match OneForAll. I actually think that's less successful in my opinion than regular OneForAll.
yeah.
I think the fun of OneForAll is seeing your champion and how it combos off itself against a different champion and how that champion combos off itself. I think if it's the mirror match, it's less interesting because it comes down to itemization, and that's not as fun.
How painful was that actually to use the normal champions to work with that? Because there had to be a lot of
Oh my god! Oh my god! The amount of bug fixing and edge cases, because you know, and this comes back to like that upkeep. When champions are made, you know, there was a heap of champions made. No one made it thinking one day, 5 years from now, someone's going to need 5 copies of this to work on top of itself. Yeah, in it, like no one could have possibly known that. So we came in and were like, how do we get 5 Mordekaisers to work with each other? Oh god.
Oh yeah, and the old ghosts as well. The old.
Yep.
Oh.
So
yeah.
there was it was a very technically challenging mode and probably like higher tech upkeep mode than many others. At least it was back in the day. I'm not sure like nowadays what it's like, but
And it's so interesting that out of all game modes, this is the one that is actually being preserved and is coming back. That's interesting.
I just think it's fun to like see the combos. Like you do the theory crafting in your head of like, what if we get 5 zillions and we all like throw a heap of bombs and just like try and permastun him?
Or
I also
just fight Doombots. That sounds like fun as well. I don't see them back.
But I believe one of the reasons could be because I believe the champions, the modern champions, are actually built with that thought that one day they will be in OneForAll. Like Viego. If Viego wasn't built with that thought, there is no way Viego could be like fixed later to work in OneForAll. He had to be
Diego
built.
was built with thought.
Wow.
Do you actually think?
Tell me how you really feel.
I hate that champion and everything he stands for.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on, wait, no.
Andrew
game.
The
Riot Forge game was good.
Okay, that's the do you hate the champion in the MOBA on the PC, or do you
MOBA.
hate the
MOBA.
Yeah, all right, okay.
Game
I'll-
good. MOBA. Oh.
All right, cool. I'll let that go then. We can let that slide.
But like,
Our
do you
boy
hate
Ruin King.
Viego more than you hate Aphelios?
Oh yeah, Aphelios. Skins for Aphelios.
Aphelios isn't bad. He's just.
I thought that was the worst
it's
one.
getting
for you.
used.
Yeah.
It's getting used to his guns. Oh yeah, he's the worst one to record, but it doesn't mean I hate him.
Wow. I actually thought you hated him. Oh shit. Oh well, whatever.
We need to rethink our friendships now. Anyway, Poro King. That was a good one.
Oh,
You know why Poro King was a good one? Because it was reused in Nexus Blitz, and
Yeah.
it was successful there too.
Poro King is like you'll make a thing and never expect that it will, I don't know, maybe go and become some other thing. The idea to me now that you can like get a Poro King plushie in the merch store is crazy. Like that, I never would have thought, like when we were making that, I never would have thought that.
Yeah,
like,
I think
that would be
because
a
like
thing.
from marketing perspective, it just landed on so well because you also released it during Christmas, and so like thematically,
and
makes
thematically
sense.
the gameplay hit. I remember the first January when I came back from our winter break. So it would have been 2015 January. So we did Poro King at the end of 2014. That was the first time. We knew Poro King, we were onto something when people started yelling, "Do it!" in pit. That was, and maybe everyone has had this experience with the snowball when someone lands a snowball on them and you just start whispering, "Do it, do it, do it."
I mean,
do it.
we do
you,
that in
do it."
Arab nowadays all the time.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
originated-
we used to do that back in the day as well. When we were playing it, we were like, okay, I think this is pretty good. We even did the website for it back in the day. We did these little concept arts of other champions doing the Lee Sin kick. There's like art of Alistar and Teemo, like, hiya, doing the little Lee Sin kick. It's adorable. So we got back in January after Christmas, and we switched Poro King off eventually. And I remember playing Aram that first week with the team. We were like, something's missing from Aram. Like, do you feel like it's missing? And we all looked at each other and we're like, I think the snowball needs to be in Aram. Like, it feels weird without it. So I remember that first week, it took me like an afternoon or something. I went and hacked the snowball into Aram and just like did a first pass on some numbers and got it working. It worked out good. We did HIPAA checks and stuff, and we put it into Aram like within a couple of weeks. And then like a month later, Feral Pony comes over to my desk and is like, "Did you put the snowball in Aram?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "We might need to nerf it a little bit." Because it was the original one from Poro King, which if you don't remember has like triple the range of the one that's in Aram today.
Oh.
It goes like 3 screens. And it does like way more true damage than the one in Aram does. So we did a bit of a pass on it, but I remember.
Thanks,
putting the
Feral
snowball
Pony.
in. Hey, he was right. He was right. It probably didn't need to be 3 screens. 1 screen is probably enough.
I remember when it was added to Summoner's Rift and it was global. That was fun.
When was
wish
that?
I
Was it for Earth?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
probably,
think it was for Earth actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
we
right.
might have. Yeah, we might have done that for an Earth iteration. But yeah,
I
the
totally
snowball
forgot
is
that we needed.
the snowball. Like, I just felt like we needed it in Aram, and I'm glad to see that it's still there today.
What was the difference between Poro King and Snowdown Showdown?
Snowdown Showdown was the 1v1 mode.
Oh. It didn't
was
work,
like a-
right? Like, it was a flop,
it was like
I
a-
think.
It was like a sanctioned way to do 1v1s. I think like the idea is good, but now I think about it more. I'm like, I can see why it wouldn't have worked as much, because you don't like 1v1s isn't really a thing that I feel people queue for. You don't just like get onto your computer and like, I'm gonna play League for tonight. I've got 2 hours. You don't just play 2 hours of 1v1s. Well, I think most people don't. You might like, be
I
talking
would
with
queue
your
for
friend.
2 hours to play Doombots.
Right. But I don't think you would queue for 2 hours to play 1v1s. With your friend at school, you might be like, my Jinx is better than your Jinx. All right, 1v1 me. And you go and log on and you play one game to test it, and then you're done. You don't like sit in that queue and play it. I also think it's mostly for spectating, like watching pros or, influencers and people on streams 1v1 each other is cool. That's only 2 people in the queue though. And then like it's however many thousand people watching on Twitch. So as a queue, I don't think it's like worth it personally. I think, if you can get most of the value from that, just
Why not
doing
make it just a
anyway.
custom game mode? Like, the custom lobby. Why not
I
just
don't
We
think
never
that-
got to play it. We never got to play it with the Magma Chamber map as well.
I was about to ask that, and I was in my head. I had a bit where I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring up the big brain question. Did you work on Magma Chamber? Thank you for ruining it."
So I didn't. Magma Chamber was already killed when I joined, but my lead tech designer is actually the person that killed it. So he was.
Do we know why?
But wait. But we can save it. He made most of the Doombots in the first version. So
okay.
So there we go. That makes it okay.
He's still a good guy.
He's still a good guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact reasons of why.
I was about to ask if it was like the same thought for Snowdown Showdown, where 1v1 has potential, but the potential is kind of small, so
Yeah, I
it wouldn't
mean,
be worth it.
I'm not sure. It was like 2012, 2013 League of Legends, so I couldn't really have visibility on it. But
Visually, Magma Chamber was amazing, but
Yeah,
no
but
one
that's
ever
the
got to
thing.
see it.
That I think that's the point. Is like if you ask yourself the question of, do we want to like put resources on like a single map that is going
it's
to be played by
opportunity
like
cost.
2 players and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it.
The opportunity cost of like, say hypothetically, chat, if we like, did Magma Chamber, maybe you wouldn't have gotten Poro King and Doombots, and that might have been the trade. And I look at that, I'm like, that's not worth it. There's no way that's worth it. Poro King was like a tradition on Christmas for like 4-5 years in a row. Doombots was able to come back. Like, I think they were much more value than a 1v1 map, at least in my opinion.
I mean, we saw the 1v1 map because they did at the esports.
We got it
All-Stars.
working. We got it working for. I mean, that's still us, like our GameModes team. We got it working for the All Stars for esports, and that's why we were considering like, oh, maybe we'll turn this into like a permanent. I think I actually made the mistake of saying that of like, we're considering, maybe making it. And I used the word consider, thinking like that's safe. I've used the word consider. People definitely understand that I am not promising anything, and then obviously that became like a.
So it's your fault then.
Became a promise of. I mean, ultimately, yeah, I should have like.
I
phrased
understand
it
the pain.
differently.
Recently, I made a video talking about the Age of Champions, and I said
Oh.
set maybe 14. All right, I said set might be 14. You know what people took it as?
Nakrit,
Nakrit said he's 14!
Are you saying set is 14? Why would you say that, Nakrit? Why are you saying set is 14?
You should go to
I heard that.
to the
I heard
League
that you
lore
said that.
subreddit. You should go to the subreddit and see the replies. People
I
were
heard you said that.
roasting me so hard for that. Anyway,
Yeah.
I understand the pain of people not understanding your words.
It's now illegal to draw set fan art. I'm sorry.
I just can't believe that. Anyway,
Okay, so since we are, I think it's getting also late. Maybe you have like a couple, because like we pretty much talked about every single game mode that you.
there's also
worked
Earth,
on,
but we kind of talked about
Yeah,
Earth.
Earth is like
I
it's
mean,
just standard stuff.
The one thing I'll touch for Earth, I really enjoyed the 2014 version that we did, which was the NURF version, new ultra rapid fire.
Oh
Yeah.
Wasn't
So,
it
I
where
don't-
someone
I
slept
don't know if
bacon
you-
on the servers?
So I don't know if you guys remember, but
I do.
Yeah.
we
You had a 3-man team for jungle?
we were chatting about, okay, how can we one up Earth? And we're like, okay, well, we can just go completely over the top. But obviously, players were asking for Earth. Like, but my Twitter today still, people will just be like, Earth where? ? Like, it's gonna follow me for the rest of my life. So we were like, okay, what if we do like a bait switch? So we troll that it's not coming back, and then we're like, okay, we'll bring it back, but we make it intentionally terrible. And then when it does come out, it'll be cool and it'll all be good. So I remember we called it New Ultra Rapid Fire because we're like, okay, we listen to you guys. You really, really want Earth to come back, so we've done it. We brought back New Ultra Rapid Fire, and the acronym for it spells out NURF, and the mode was just like super slowed down League of Legends, which was.
I think the biggest problem. Yeah, go ahead.
I was to say, if you saw the Peace Pigeon video that he did for it, it's like plus 200% cooldown increment and like plus 150% slower walking. It was all like phrased like it was meant to be positive, but when you watched it, it's all just like terrible. And the videos were like really slow walking champions.
I remember, but like,
and their auto attacks took forever, and they didn't have any mana.
But this was so funny. I remember vividly the stream where you had the pros. Like,
Yeah.
and Freak was commentating it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then came the twist. I think it was Odd One.
And we
who
had,
slapped bacon on the servers and like made it,
We had a
faster.
video of like Rammus getting overtaken by minions in lane. Like Rammus
that.
in
Yeah,
his power
yeah, I
ball,
remember
and the minions just walk past him. So what players might not realize is we actually had to make that to film all of that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
So for our team, while we were making actual Earth, we made that mode as well. And for filming purposes, we had to play basically 2 games of it. I guarantee you, is the worst thing you will ever play in your life. It was terrible. And people were like, oh, you totally should have released that. It would have been cool. Like, you have no idea what you're saying. It was terrible. You don't want to play that at all. We didn't even want to do it a second time for filming. We were like, yo, this is actually terrible. Do we really? Did we get enough footage? Do we not have enough footage? God, okay, damn, we have to play it again for more footage. All right, guys, back in the queue. Let's go again. It was. We even did like a leaked, so I worked with Mubi, because Mubi like knew about the bait and switch. Worked with Mubi to do like a leaked photo of the mode as well, which showed the same information as Peace Pigeon's video. So we did a lot of work to like try and play up the like terrible version of it. And then obviously when April 1st came around, it was revealed like, don't worry, it's fine. It's actually even better than before.
Okay, hold on. You actually touched on something that I quickly wanted to mention. And you know, you as an employee of Riot Games, I think people will hear your words. When it comes to leaks, I think it's safe to say that no Rioter ever purposefully leaks anything just to get hype from it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go further. I've been making video games for like a while, like over 15 years. I don't think there is any game developer anywhere out there that intentionally leaks or likes leaks. Leaks are almost like holistically a bad thing for any game. Like the idea that like, well, leaks generate extra hype and oh, well, you know, it's the people that are really invested just find out early. You know, ultimately,
interest.
Yeah, that is not the reality of when leaks happen, and ultimately they will almost always just cause more damage than is worth. You know, leaks are often inaccurate. They you know, not accurately representing stuff, but they could completely ruin, like, you know, we could have like, and when I say we, right, I mean we as game developers, lots of games will plan these amazing parties and like 3-piece mystery for you to figure out the thing, and a leak might just completely ruin, you know, the work of 50 people for the last 6 months. And then so incorrect information. Incorrect information is another rough one, because leaks will say things, and then players will be like, "Oh, so they promised X, Y, Z." You're like, well, actually, no one ever did, because it was a
Pole dancer board is not real. What?
no. But yeah, I won't even. That's not even like a Riot thing. I won't even speak on behalf of like Rioters. I'll just say game devs in general. I don't think I've ever met a game dev that thought leaks were a good idea or liked leaks. Leaks are just almost like categorically a terrible thing, and our hearts just sink when we see them, because I feel bad for my dev friends when I see their things leak. I'm like, oh, I know you must have been working on that for ages, and it's leaked now. And now they have to like figure out what to do. Maybe they have to change their plan. If the leak has incorrect information, now they have to go on like a media campaign trying to say, no, we're not doing that. It's, my heart goes out to any dev friends that have to deal with leak stuff.
So yeah, so when Spirit Blossom leaked, it was not on purpose.
It was a fluke.
Yeah.
When anything the last 2 years leaked, it hasn't been on purpose. I'm still surprised nothing from Arcane leaked.
That was insane. That like that's Arcane was kept
MVP
secret
team
so
at this
well.
point. The Arcane team, like the not Arcane team, but the people managing that.
Odyssey actually, Odyssey didn't even have PTR, and like personally, I myself, I don't like when stuff is on PTR. I understand why it is there. Or PvE, sorry, I use PTR, PvE, you know.
But it was tested by players, though.
No, yeah, like, I played Odyssey before it came out. I got invited
you played
to...
it with Ross.
Oh, yeah, but that's different.
I played with Ross and Candy.
Yeah.
But you know, still, I'm a fan of stuff not being on PvE. Odyssey, because Odyssey came out without testing and it was a surprise to everyone. It's because when you see a creator or someone play on PvE and you kind of like, you know, this is what the Gamemode is about. You don't really then like want to play it that much. You kind of get over the hype of like by watching streams and stuff. I don't know. I just like when stuff is a surprise.
I think there's pros and cons. I remember back when Mort was doing that for Odyssey, and I like the pain. Like it was very difficult because, you know, we'd never done that before. So there was a lot of like moving parts, and they did like a really good job, like you said, to actually get it to work. we did it recently as well for, Forge as well, right? We announced that we would do we're going to do a Nintendo Direct, and then surprise, there's all just like 2 whole video games at the same time. I agree. It's do you really want to hear me talk about oh, it's coming soon, just hang in there, it's coming soon, and I'm just going to have to say the same thing over and over? Or the next time you hear from people, it's here it is. You're like, what do you mean, here it is? I mean, no, it's right here. It's done. It's right here. And you can play it, and it's cool, because you can just take the time to actually make it the best version of itself, and rather than feel like we have to keep stringing players along. So we'll just be quiet, and when it's done, it's done.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. It's just that it was really surprising, for example, that the Ziggs game literally came out of nowhere. I don't remember any information about that. It's oh yeah, by the way, we made a Ziggs bit
working as designed.
It was two. It was what, 2 tweets prior, being "Hey, would you make a game for us?"
Yeah. We talked
sure.
about it with the guys for months. We were like, "Hey, we could do a Twitter thread back and forth. And, do you guys want to make a game for us?" Yeah, sure. And then just bam.
Just slammed the game. That was insane and so cool as well.
I mean, the stuff we do on Forge, we're pretty indie. We're working with indie teams and friends as well. So it's a bit of a different vibe and a different tone to the more official Riot channels, I think. We can just be a little more loose and just have fun doing indie stuff.
It feels I think the Fall Guys PR team kind of started this trend of companies being kind of funny on social media, stuff like that. I feel that's exactly what Riot Forge is doing, where
I think it's been going for a bit longer than that, but I will say that Among Us and Fall Guys, I think they do an excellent job of it. There'd be some best in class, but there's definitely been a trend for a while now of publishers or companies that are able to just speak freely with players.
It also doesn't work for everyone. You have to, and with Riot Forge, you even though you are not indie, you still are indie, and so it fits the persona of Riot Forge. Yeah. So it's not for every company, definitely.
I think Riot's been pretty trailblazing there for a while as well. I can't remember a company where so many people would just go and be able to talk on. Remember, we used to have the forum, the boards back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And even now, we still have Twitter and the amount of access that the average player has to the developers of all the stuff Riot does, I think is pretty cool. The idea that you could be playing your favorite game and just tweet someone a question about why is the fireball blue, and they might actually respond and tell you why the fireball's blue. That's pretty cool.
It's risky. Sometimes it can be trouble, but
sure. Yeah, I mean, there's there's going to be pros and cons to anything, but I think that the benefits outweigh the risks, because we can just chat with you guys, and even now we're doing a podcast today. And we can talk about cool trivia and stuff from years ago. I think it's just more fun.
It's pretty cool, yeah. I gotta admit, having you and on the podcast and just talk about Doombots, probably the best thing of the past couple of years.
I'm getting a strong feeling that you really want Doombots to come.
I want PvE.
So I'm trying to think other Doombots trivia. So the Teemo boss was made by the same designer that made Darkstar. He designed that. He designed that Teemo, just the Teemo bit. The rest of the mode was done by other designers, but he did the. Is he
still at Riot, by the way?
He's not, but he's actually. I don't think he's doing games anymore. But yeah, they aren't at Riot anymore. And the difficulty mode we did, where you would do 1 to 100. What we should have done is not cap it at 100, because everyone immediately was just let's just do level 100 or whatever. And so they would just type in 100. We should have done it uncapped and turn it into a high score. So everyone would have been what's the highest number you could do? Because it's just mathematical, right? We could just take the number and scale based on the curve for all of the stats. So we should have just left it open and seen what was possible, and someone would have been I did 235, but I couldn't do 237 or something.
Yeah.
So if I did it again, I would uncap that. I'm also disappointed when we put it on PvE, Teemo only had 45,000 health. And a lot of people, content creators would beat the mode at level 100 on PvE and were like, I did it, I beat the mode. I'm like, well, no, you beat it on PvE, which isn't the real mode. This is getting into league territory again. Because when we actually released the mode, we doubled his health to 90. And so when the mode came out, everyone's like, holy crap, level 100 is so hard. We can't beat Teemo. And all these content creators were like, what are you talking about? It's easy. I already did it. And I was like, yeah, you beat him with the easy mode version.
Yeah.
But no one goes and updates their video again afterwards, right? Like, they've done the video at that point. So, like, I would watch, whenever you watch those old, like, round 2 Doombots videos, watch for how much health Teemo has. And if he's only got 45k, that's not the real level 100. The real one, he had 90k.
I have a question.
I think we also have like 3 minutes, so.
Yeah,
No, we
that's
could
fine.
go a little bit.
What was your favorite game mode to make and to play, if it is a different one?
It is definitely different. I would say Doombots is my favorite mode to make as a developer because it was a lot of fun to just like think of all of the broken versions of those champion kits
Morgana.
and then to like and then to go and script them and code them and put them in
I
and test
hated
them.
who
Like,
you.
it was a lot of fun to like go and design and think up and make all those Doombots. There were some Doombots which never made it in as well. I remember I had a Malphite bot which we ended up cutting. I cut my own bot because it wasn't good enough. The gimmick was he would ult to change lanes globally. So you would no, but it was hilarious. He would be in bot, and the AI would understand it's going to help another lane, and usually to do that, it uses the teleport scroll, or it would like go home and walk. This Malphite would just be like, "Oh, top lane needs help, peace," and then just ult top from bot.
So cool.
and you'd be in mid lane fighting, and this Malphite would just go past from bottom right to top left. Just
That sounds
go past your lane.
amazing.
And you'd be like, "Oh shit, you'd be digging top." But the hilarious part was, it didn't count as ulti. It counted as a teleport. So when he arrived, he had his ult ready. So he would ult. He would show up with an ult, and then ult you immediately straight after he showed up. So you would just be chilling in top lane, doing your best against Doom Morgana, and Malphite would show up and go bam bam. And just ult you like twice out of nowhere. So that wasn't actually even the reason we cut him. The reason we cut him is the other problem was he would use it to just run away from situations he didn't like. So you'd be chasing Doom Malphite in the jungle, and you'd just kill him, and Malphite's like, "Nah, see ya, bye," and just ults to Fountain. And so he would just ult to Fountain, and you can't stop him.
That sounds amazing.
So no one could kill him, and you'd be chilling in your lane, and a Malphite would just show up from nowhere, ult your lane, and then ult you straight away afterwards. And we were like, yeah, this is lame. We need to get rid of this. This Doombot is a terrible idea. So Doombots was definitely the most fun to make. To play, I would probably say Ascension. Ascension is the purest form of team deathmatch I've been able to find in a MOBA. It's 5v5. It's a stock system, like a ticket or a stock system. It's even across gold. You just brawl. It's got very little downtime. I think Ascension was like that perfect, like, I don't know, like mix of how long a game took. It was only like 18 to 20 minutes for a game. I feel like I practiced a lot of champions in Ascension. Like, I think I probably had the most fun playing Ascension.
Alright. I think I have a really cool final question, which would be, your position right now at Riot Forge is more of a management kind of position, right?
I guess it's the difference between me like a design lead or a creative director for something. It's partly it's management, it's also partly like vision setting and like holding, craft bar. There's a lot that goes into, like a game director or a creative director as opposed to just, being a lead designer.
So do you miss your old days of actually like cracking open a code and like, you know,
Yeah,
actually
I think-
fidgeting with a game.
Yeah, I think every manager says this. There's some point where you realize you did a thing and you didn't actually write a single line of script for it. And it's a really weird feeling where somewhere you cross that threshold of like, oh, I didn't actually like put a line into this anymore. But at some point you realize like the way you can contribute the most is not actually doing that anymore. It's like helping everyone else achieve the same vision or help everyone see like the same thing and make sure we're all going in the same direction is more valuable than you like trying to solo just do one little part of the mode or like one little part of the game inside the machine.
And
But-
do you think like most quote unquote higher ups at Riot like started in like technical stuff when it comes to games?
I mean, I can't speak about every discipline, but in terms of like game designers, I think almost every game designer at some point has been doing script or code. Like that's the part of the bread and butter of being a game designer. It's being able to like not just come up with the ideas, but execute and realize your idea in code and prototype and iterate and collect feedback and all of that sort of stuff. But definitely for like all of our design leadership or like our game directors or creative directors like myself, everyone at some point was doing that in their career. For sure. Otherwise, they didn't end up in the spot they're in. So, yeah, I think I haven't met a creative director or design director who's floated to that level that doesn't miss back when they were able to, more directly work on the games.
Well, and now, Chibiin, you can close this off.
Just hit the button like this. Like, hey, we're done.
Just smash it.
Oh no, that was actually really fun. Like a really fun talk. I wish we had a little bit more time, but yeah, stuff
Alright.
needs to be done.
You can invite me back and I'll give you hot takes on stories.
Ooh, nice. Ooh.
I mean, we did because we didn't talk about lore or IP at all.
Yeah,
today.
definitely.
When I say lore, I don't mean the card game lore. I mean like story lore. Like, I mean, for the stuff we do on Forge, I have.
Oh, I'm gonna write that down for the future. Actually.
Yeah, I'll happily come back and give you a hot take, or I'll rate your guys' hot takes on lore stuff. And if I go
You want
suspicious,
to talk about Elden Ring so hard as well, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, we can talk about Elden Ring.
I'd do an Elden Ring thing. We could talk about Elden Ring.
Let's go.
I'm like
gonna write
100
both
hours deep on Elden Ring, but
Let's go.
I think
that sounds fun.
I can actually.
we could do a lore hot takes as another video. There'll be plenty of time, Chibiin. We can.
Is
do another.
Rani the best girl or not?
Yes,
I knew you would say that.
she's actually no spoilers obviously because Rowan has not finished Elden Ring, or no spoilers for any viewers.
Yeah, for anyone.
Listeners. Yeah, Rani is actually the best side character that ever appeared in a Souls game.
Yes.
She's insane.
Except she's not, because Iron Fist Alexander is the real protagonist of Elden Ring.
No,
we are actually just NPCs, and that massive pot, the talking pot dude, is really the main character, and we are just basking in his glorious presence as the game continues.
It's humans though.
Yeah, but they're already dead, so I mean, is it really that bad? If they're already dead, he's like, look at all of these corpses lying around. I can get great energy from these. I'm like, I'm just gonna look the other way right now, and I'll see you later, man. I'll see you later in the next zone. Bye.
Oh man. Alright, it's time to close this off then. I wrote the Lord Elden Ring thing. Maybe later on.
GG, that was fun. We could do that
Alright.
again.
Bye bye everyone.
So goodbye everyone.
Oh, also, you can
Farewell.
follow Rowan on at Riot Latency with a 4 and a 3 as instead of it's just type Rowan Latency somewhere on Google. You're gonna find his Twitter. Yeah,
Or
description.
you can just
as well.
type Rowan Riot Forge. It'll come up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can find him on Twitter. And yeah,
Also, before I forget, I know we've been talking about older modes all day, but I want to shout out Riot Rainboom and the team that are still experimenting with stuff over on League. Most recently, I think they did Ultimate Spellbook, but also in the past they tried things like Nexus Blitz. So she's still over there leading the charge.
alright,
With that-
bye bye.
Goodbye.
Farewell.
Till the next one.
See yous.